Hello, I'm Tara, and you're very welcome to Words to Hold You. This is a quiet place for emotional reassurance when your mind won't rest at night. One human heart speaking gently to another. So find a comfortable place. Let your shoulders drop from your ears. Unclench your jaw if you're holding it. Let the weight of the week, whatever it carried, begin to loosen its grip a little. Now that you're here and there's nowhere else to be. Tonight's words are simple, but I invite you to really let them in. Morning will come. Not tonight, not yet, and maybe not the way you're picturing it right now, but it will come. Over the next hour or so, we're going to sit with why that's true and why it matters more than it might seem right now in the dark at the end of a long week. Let's start with something almost everyone knows and almost no one truly believes at 2 a.m. The night always ends. It has ended every single time before this one, without exception, for every person who has ever lain awake wondering if this time might be different. And yet, in the middle of a hard night, it rarely feels that way. The dark feels permanent. Whatever is heavy tonight, grief, fear, uncertainty, an ending you didn't choose, a beginning you're not sure you're ready for. It can feel like the whole of your life now, rather than one particular night inside a much longer story. That's what darkness does. It shrinks the world down to only what's visible right now and convinces you that this is all there is, all there will ever be. It's a kind of optical illusion, one your mind falls for again and again, even though it has been wrong every single time before. Because morning has always come. Every night you have ever survived has ended in light eventually. Every grief you've carried has at some point, however slowly, let a little softness back in. Every fear that once felt permanent has, at some point, loosened its grip enough for you to breathe normally again. You are, tonight, living proof of that pattern. Not because your life has been easy, because it hasn't needed to be for the pattern to hold true. Morning came anyway. It always has. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from believing somewhere underneath everything else that this time the dark won't lift, that this hard season is different, permanent, unlike every other hard season you've somehow made it through. It's an old fear, and an understandable one, but it has never once in the whole of your life so far turned out to be true. Let's talk for a moment about why hope can feel so hard to hold on to exactly when you need it most. It's not weakness. It's not a flaw in you. It's simply that pain has a way of making itself feel like the only permanent thing in the room, while everything good starts to feel temporary, fragile, easily lost. When you're hurting, the hurting feels like the truest thing about your life. Anything gentler starts to feel like wishful thinking, something you'd like to believe rather than something you actually can. That's not because hope is naive. It's because pain is loud, and hope, especially at first, tends to be quiet. But quiet isn't the same as untrue. A sunrise doesn't announce itself with noise either. It simply, gradually, without asking permission from the night, begins. Consider for a moment every hard night you've ever lived through. Not this one, the ones before it. The heartbreaks that felt unsurvivable and were eventually survived. The losses that felt like they would flatten you completely and somehow didn't. The uncertain seasons where you had no idea how things would turn out, and somehow they turned out to be livable, even good, in ways you couldn't have predicted from inside the dark. None of that happened because you were fearless. It happened because morning kept coming, night after night, whether you believed it would or not, and you kept waking up into it, a little more able to carry things than the night before had convinced you that you'd be able for. That's not luck. That's not even really resilience in the way we usually talk about it. It's simply how time and mornings work. They arrive quietly, reliably, whether you have faith in them or not. I invite you to notice something gently, if you can tonight. You have never once needed to solve the whole of your pain in a single night. You have only ever needed to survive until morning, and let morning do the slow, patient work that darkness cannot do. Clarity rarely arrives at midnight. It tends to arrive slowly, with daylight, with rest, with a little distance from the version of things that only the dark can convince you are true. This doesn't mean tonight isn't hard. It's allowed to be hard. You don't need to perform hope you don't fully feel yet. You only need to leave a little room for it, the way you might leave a window cracked open, even on a cold night, simply so something can get in eventually. Let's talk about what hope actually is, because it's often misunderstood. Hope isn't pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It isn't forcing a smile over something genuinely painful. Hope is smaller than that, and sturdier. Hope is simply the willingness to believe that this particular darkness is not the only chapter left in your story. Nothing more dramatic than that. You don't have to believe the whole story will be good. You only have to leave room for the possibility that this specific night, this specific pain, isn't the entire book. It's a chapter. A hard one maybe, but not the ending. There's something worth understanding about why hard nights convince us so completely that they'll never end. Exhaustion narrows the mind. When you're tired, truly tired, the brain stops being able to imagine alternatives easily. It gets stuck rehearsing the worst version again and again, because tired minds default to the most immediate, most vivid fear in front of them, rather than the wider, gentler truth sitting just outside its reach. That's not a character flaw. That's simply what exhausted minds do. They lose the ability to remember, in the moment, all the mornings that have already come before. It isn't proof that this time it's different. It's proof that you're tired, and tired minds need rest more than they need to be believed completely, especially at their most convinced. So if part of you tonight is certain that this particular dark won't lift, I'd like to gently offer you a different way of holding that certainty. Not disagreement exactly, just a little space around it. What if that certainty is simply exhaustion talking, the way it always does at its loudest, rather than an actual fact about how the rest of your story goes? It might help too to remember that you're not the only one lying somewhere in the dark tonight, waiting for morning to come. Right now, in this exact hour, there are people all over the world doing exactly what you're doing, holding something heavy, wondering if the light will really return this time, needing someone or something to remind them that it will. You're not uniquely bad at hoping. You're not uniquely broken for doubting at 2 in the morning something that has never once let you down. You're simply human, doing what humans have always done in the dark, reaching for a little reassurance that the story continues past this particular chapter. There's a strange kind of comfort in that, if you let it in. Whatever you're carrying tonight, someone else has carried something like it before you, in some other dark room, in some other year, and morning came for them too. Not because their pain was smaller than yours, simply because that's what mornings do for everyone, without exception, eventually. And when your own morning does come, however hard the season around it still is, you'll become part of that same quiet chain. Someone else's evidence, one day, without ever needing to say a word about it. Someone somewhere down the line, doubting whether their own morning would come, and being wrong about that doubt, the same way you're about to be wrong about yours tonight. Let's think for a moment about mornings you've already lived through that you couldn't have predicted from inside the night before them. A period of your life you once thought would never end, and did. A version of yourself you once thought you'd be forever, and aren't anymore. A grief that once felt like it would swallow everything, and somehow, without you fully noticing the exact moment it happened, softened into something you could actually carry. None of those mornings arrived because you demanded them or earned them through sheer willpower. They arrived because that's what mornings do. They come quietly, reliably, on their own schedule, whether or not you were ready, whether or not you believed they would. For the next little while, there is only this moment. Morning can take care of itself. Nothing needs to be solved, decided, understood, or made better right now. There's only the quiet weight of your body, supported where it is, and the simple passing of one moment into the next. Let's do a slow countdown now, from 10 to 1. Not a task to complete, not somewhere to get to. Just 10 quiet places of awareness to rest as the body becomes a little less involved with the day. Ten. Down at the very end of your body, your toes. Perhaps warm, perhaps cool, perhaps tucked beneath a covering, touching fabric, or simply resting without much sensation at all. Your toes have nothing to do now. The small muscles through your feet can be exactly as they are. Heels heavy, soles quiet, ankles supported, nothing asked of them. Just your feet, here, now. Nine. Awareness moving through the lower legs, calves, shins, knees. All the work they have done today is already done. There may be places that feel loose and comfortable, and places still holding a little tension. Both can be here. No need to change either one. Your legs simply resting against whatever is beneath them, held without effort. Eight. thighs and hips, the larger muscles of your legs no longer carrying the body anywhere. Your hips supported, your pelvis heavy. Perhaps a sense of the whole lower body settling more fully into the bed, as though gravity is doing everything that needs to be done. Nothing to hold up, nowhere to go, only this moment. Seven. Your lower back and your belly. The quiet movement of your breathing may be felt here, or perhaps it's barely noticeable. No particular rhythm required, no count to follow. Your body already knows how to breathe. Your belly rising and falling on its own. Your lower back supported beneath it. Whatever has been carried through the day does not need to be carried in this moment. For now, there is simply your body resting. Six. Your chest and the middle of your back. Your heart continuing its steady work without being asked. Breath arriving, breath leaving. Your ribs making their small movements. Perhaps there's a little more space here now. Perhaps not. Nothing needs to happen. This is not about reaching a particular feeling. It's simply a few quiet moments in which nothing more is required. Five. Your hands, fingers resting wherever they have come to rest. Palms soft against fabric, against the body, or open to the air. Hands that have held, carried, typed, cooked, worked, reached, comforted and managed so much. For now, empty, nothing to grasp, nothing to fix. Wrists quiet, fingers still, your hands off duty for a while. Four, your arms and shoulders, forearms supported, upper arms heavy. And your shoulders, so often the place where the day stays long after the day is over. Whatever is still there can be there. There's no need to push tension away. Perhaps, with nothing being demanded of the shoulders now, some of that holding simply becomes unnecessary. The weight of your arms belonging to the bed rather than to you. 3. Your throat, your neck, your jaw. The places involved in speaking, swallowing, answering, explaining. Quiet now. Your tongue resting inside your mouth. Your teeth needing no particular relationship to one another. Your jaw supported by the pillow and by gravity. Your throat doing only what it naturally does. The back of your neck held. No conversation to have. No answer to find. Two, your face, cheeks, mouth, nose, eyes, the tiny muscles around your eyes that spend so much of the day looking, reading, watching, concentrating. Nothing to look at now. Behind and closed eyes. Only darkness, shadow, color, or whatever happens to be there. Your forehead, with no expression required of it. Your whole face, free from needing to communicate anything at all. One, the top of your head. And now perhaps a sense of your body as one whole thing rather than separate parts. From the top of your head, through your face and jaw, your shoulders and arms, your chest and back, your belly and hips, your legs, all the way down to your feet and the tips of your toes. One body here, supported, breathing, existing in this one moment. There's nothing beyond this moment that needs attention now. Not the morning, not what might happen tomorrow, not the thing that was being replayed earlier. Morning does not need watching over. It arrives without any help. For now, there's only the quiet rise and fall of your body. The weight beneath the covers, the darkness around you, the sounds that are here, near or far, and this moment, followed by another moment, followed by another. Nothing to chase, nothing to prepare for, nothing to make happen. If sleep is close, there's no need to reach for it. If sleep is not close, there's no problem to solve. Rest can simply be rest. Your body can lie here without having to achieve anything at all. Morning will take care of morning. This moment is enough. Let's talk about what the morning actually asks of you. The real one. The one not long from now. It doesn't need you to have everything figured out by sunrise. It doesn't need the grief resolved, the fear gone completely, the hard decision made and settled. It only needs you to still be here when it arrives, resting as much as you can between now and then. You're allowed to still be sad in the morning. You're allowed to wake up and find that the hard thing is still, in fact, hard. Morning coming doesn't mean the pain vanishes overnight, like a switch being flipped. It simply means you get another chance, a new one, a little lighter than the one before it, to keep meeting whatever this is, one morning at a time. That's not a small thing. That's actually the whole of how anyone gets through anything genuinely hard. Not by solving it entirely in one dramatic night, but by making it to enough mornings in a row that the weight slowly, without a clear before and after moment, becomes something more bearable to carry. If you're someone who has doubted more than once whether morning would really ever come this time, I want to gently remind you that you were wrong every single time you doubted it before. Every hard night in your life so far has ended. Every single one. Not because you were certain it would, but simply because that's what nights do, whether or not you trusted them to. You don't have to trust completely tonight. You only have to survive until morning, the way you always have, and let morning do the rest of the work, slowly, the way it always does. There's a kind of pressure worth naming here. The pressure to hope perfectly, to feel fully reassured before you're allowed to rest, as though hope only counts if it arrives whole, without any doubt mixed in beside it. That's not how hope actually works for almost anyone. Real hope is usually threadbare in places. It flickers. It sits right next to fear, close enough to touch it, and it still counts. You don't need to banish every doubt before you're allowed to believe morning is coming. You can hold both. I'm not sure I believe this yet, and I'm willing to let morning show me anyway. That's enough. That has always been enough. For every person who has ever made it through a hard night without feeling fully certain they would. If you're the kind of person who has hoped before and been disappointed, who has waited for a morning that turned out to be harder than you expected, I want to gently offer you a different way of holding that history tonight. A disappointing morning once doesn't mean every morning after it is doomed to disappoint you too. Each night is its own night. That's not nothing. That's actually everything. That's the whole mechanism by which anyone gets from an unbearable night to a bearable life. One quietly ordinary morning after another. None of them looking like much on their own. All of them adding up to something that eventually holds. there's something else worth saying, gently. Hope was never a promise that morning fixes everything. It's simply a promise that morning arrives, that the particular darkness of any one night doesn't last forever, and that you'll have new light, however faint, to see a little more clearly by. Sometimes that clarity brings comfort. Sometimes it simply brings the strength to keep going one more day. Both are morning doing its quiet work, and both matter. Sometimes morning brings something you didn't expect at all. A small kindness from an unlikely place. A piece of information that changes how heavy the whole thing feels. A moment of unexpected laughter in the middle of a hard week. The kind that catches you off guard and reminds you briefly that lightness is still available to you, even now. You cannot predict which kind of morning tomorrow will be. You only get to find out by making it there. I want to say one more thing, slowly, because some things are worth repeating until they finally land. Morning will come. It has never once failed to, not for you, not for anyone who has ever lain awake, wondering if this night might be the exception. You don't have to solve everything before it arrives. You only have to let yourself rest as much as you're able, and trust that the sky has never once forgotten how to lighten, no matter how convincingly the dark insists otherwise at its loudest hour. Whatever brought you here tonight, whatever heaviness you're carrying into this particular dark, I hope some small part of you feels a little steadier now than when we started. Not because the hard thing has resolved, it probably hasn't, but because you no longer have to face the whole of it alone in the dark. You only have to rest and let the morning arrive the way it always eventually does. And if somewhere down the road you find yourself on the other side of this particular dark, further along than you are tonight, I hope you remember to look back just for a moment and notice what got you here. Not a miracle, not a single dramatic turning point, simply morning after morning, trusted them or not, each one asking a little less of you than the last, until one day you realized you were standing somewhere lighter without quite remembering the exact morning it happened. That's what I want for you, more than certainty, more than a promise that everything works out exactly as you choose. I want you to keep making it to morning, one at a time, for as long as it takes, trusting a little more each time that the sky has never once forgotten how to lighten. Let yourself rest now. And here are some thoughts to carry you into tomorrow. If it feels right, you can repeat them after me, or simply let them settle over you as you drift. Morning has come after every night I have ever lived, and it will come after this one too. I don't have to solve everything tonight. I only have to rest and let the dawn do its slow, quiet work. I am safe. I am held. And whatever tonight is carrying, morning is already on its way. Morning has come after every night I have ever lived through, and it will come after this one too. I don't have to solve everything tonight. I only have to rest and let the dawn do its slow, quiet work. I am safe. I am held. And whatever tonight is carrying, morning is already on its way. Morning has come after every night I have ever lived through, and it will come after this one too. I don't have to solve everything tonight. I only have to rest and let the light do its slow, quiet work. safe. I am held, and whatever tonight is carrying, morning is already on its way. Be gentle with yourself and with whatever this particular night is asking you to carry. There's nowhere you need to be right now except exactly here, resting, waiting, the way all of us do, for morning. Good night. If sleep hasn't found you quite yet, I've left another video here to help you to drift